got caught unbuttoning my collar. Ryan, you need to call me later on. Trying to get set up here, waiting for a couple more people to get on. Good to see you on here, Chuck. There we go, we're getting a couple more viewers on here. Everybody having a good night? Everybody hear me okay? Not getting too much background noise? It's good to see you too, Chuck. Alright, we're going to get started here in just a minute. Got to keep hydrated. Hopefully we don't have any issues here with Wi-Fi again. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, looking for a better system. But we're going to be talking about my vision for Michigan, what I really want to do for the people of Michigan. Now, some of what I'm going to be talking about tonight is I've hashed over many a times, but I want the people to know that I mean what I have to say. I mean, you know, repeating everything is so that you know that I'm talking about the same things that I have been talking about all along. There's a lot of changes that we need to do in Michigan, and I'm sure a lot of you watching agree that we need some major changes in Michigan. We need to hold our elected officials accountable. This goes all the way from our politicians to our judges, and even some of our unelected officials that are what they call court officials. We need to hold them accountable as well. That would group in your lawyers and our bailiffs, which are part of our sheriff's departments. I like to thank them for doing the job they do, but we still need to hold them accountable for their actions as well. My vision for Michigan is to be helping the families out to put more money in their pockets. And now a lot of this would be done by, again, like I've said over and over, our tax cuts that we need to instill, but yet manage to run the state properly. And properly, I mean fairly. We have too much misappropriation of our taxes. And to give you an example of some of the misappropriations, is our gas tax is a perfect example of this. The gas tax was created to maintain our roads and bridges in a safe manner so that people do not have to worry about busting their cars up on potholes. And I understand that potholes are going to happen. I mean, Michigan is a state of 4 seasons. I'd like to think it's actually of 2 seasons. You know, we have winter and construction, but that's not where we need to go with this. But most of the construction you see on our roads today and at this time is from the federal funding. I wouldn't be so far as out of reach to say a good 85% of it is federal dollars, not our state dollars. Lansing seems to think they can't find the money to fix our roads without raising taxes, which is a downright half-truth. I'd even go so far as to say a lie. Excuse me. So if they were to actually spend the money that was set out there for our roads, we'd have some pretty nice roads around here. I mean, some of them you could probably dig up, flip over, and be smoother than they are right now. So there's a lot of damage going on from our roads to our vehicles, which in turn takes money again away from our families. Now, what I propose to do to fix our roads, and I will tell you this right now. Oh, I see somebody's playing in my computer again, so I need to log off this. I had the tax revenues for Michigan up here because I was checking to get some current numbers. I've been telling everybody the total income brought in by taxes from Michigan is $125.9 billion. That's a year, and that's all our taxes combined. I was checking into it tonight. It is now $131.7 billion. So the issues here is spending the money appropriately. It isn't trying to find the money, it's to stop the misappropriations. And that's what I will do. I'm not a career politician. This is the first time I've ever run for office, but I'd like to think that I have some common sense. So amongst my campaign promises, I promised to fix the roads without a tax increase, and I will do that. I've talked to some of our major road building companies and come up with some numbers, and we could have a lot of the roads don't need to be rebuilt, they just need to be resurfaced. A lot of those roads that would be resurfaced, there isn't hardly any truck traffic, so they would last a good anywhere from 8 to 12 years. But in an 8-year period, we could fix either by replacing, but the majority would be resurfacing our roads. And there's over 120,000 miles of roads. I think the exact number is somewhere around 126,000, 122 miles. That's between the UP and the Lower Peninsula. As the people in the UP are called Upers, I guess they don't use the phrase anymore, but us people down here in the Lower Peninsula are called trolls because we live under the bridge. I get a laugh out of that, but either way, by fixing our roads, it's part of an infrastructure that needs to be done. But that tax is completely different than what I am working on right now for our actual infrastructure. We need to get our schools and our water lines taken care of. I see Lansing has come up with splitting the Detroit public school districts. In other words, they created another public school system to handle this debt that Detroit's got themselves into. I believe personally that's still misappropriation of school fund dollars. Plus you have principals and administrators that were stealing from the fund. I'm waiting to see what happens to them. To me, that's embezzlement, and it should be. They should be booted out of office and somehow made them to pay it back. They should never be able to hold those positions again, in my opinion. I think most of the people in Michigan would agree with that. That's part of the accountability that I believe in. You know, we are all accountable for every action that we take place in. You know, if we're out here walking our dog and it bites somebody, we need to be responsible and take care of that. That's just a simple way of putting an example out there for what I'm trying to say. I'm not the greatest orator, so bear with me. I'm a common man. I work just like most of us do. But I'd like to think, like I said earlier, I have common sense, and that's what we need to bring into our government here in Lansing. I understand that we got to work around and compromise with some of these senators and state reps, but I don't believe in compromising with the families of Michigan. So I will uphold our Constitution to the letter. And it looks like we're starting to have issues with Wi-Fi again, and I don't like that. So And as for our schools, right now Michigan, and I've gotten into some pretty hefty little discussions with our public schools around here. They want to raise our property tax. I don't mind investing in our children. Trust me. I want the best for our children for the state of Michigan. I mean, after all, our schools are ranked number 39 out of the nation. That's terrible. There's only 50 states, and we're going towards the bottom. In the next couple of years, we're not scheduled, but they're saying that we're going to be dropping down to number 41 out of the nation. With my administration and restructuring the schools and putting the amount of money that I want to put into our schools, I believe I can bring our state back up to where it should be within the top 5. I'm not going to say it's going to happen over the 4 years that I'm governor, but it would be well on its way to being ranked number 5 or at least in the top 10. I personally would like to see it ranked in the top 5. We have what I'd like to do, our school system. The school budget is only 13.4, and I believe I just looked at it and it was at 13.7 billion is all the state is setting aside for our schools. I'd like to put it automatically my first year, within my first 100 days, I should say, up to 16 billion. In other words, put the money in with the students, not the administrators, into the classroom. We have plenty of schools, buildings that have been closed. It would be cheaper to refurbish those schools than to build a brand new school. I'd like to see it where boy, Chuck, you're right up on there. I'm sorry about the interruption. I've been told by my campaign manager that I should let a lot of these comments go by and come back to them. But it's hard to when you're looking right at them and they're not just asking questions, but making comments, and they're fitting right along in there. And I like it when somebody is sitting there staying with me. Either if you don't agree with what I have to say, I welcome you to put something on here. I'll answer it the best I can. I will even stop in the middle of my conversation to look at it and answer it. But where I was at with these schools, like with the situation in Detroit, I know I keep hammering on Detroit. They have a great, and in my opinion only, they have a great mayor. He's done some wonderful things with Detroit, and I think he's on the right track. But the lack of holding accountability to some of these officials is what's hurting Detroit. And Detroit's a major hub for the state. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not just worried about Detroit. I'm worried about Flint. I'm worried about Saginaw, Grand Rapids. Some of these cities are doing great jobs, but we have some struggling cities that we need to take care of. We need to bring our schools back up to par. And I believe our teachers, they're overworked with however many students they have in there. Most of our classes are bigger than 35 and 40 students. I'd like to make it where there's only 28 students. I don't know if I could do that, but I would sure to hell try. If we get the student count down in our classrooms, our teachers would be able to teach our children and give them the attention they need. From what I understand, parents are starting to volunteer for the classes. That helps out our teachers. But at the same time, I'd like to see about giving our teachers a 10 to 15% pay raise. But at the same time, they're going to be held accountable. I haven't figured out how to do that. I brought up testing our teachers, but that really isn't a good viable option. If we knock our classes down to 28 students, then I bet you we would see an improvement in our scores. Although I don't really care about the national scores because I don't quite think it's fair. Some of the tests are, but I think we're over testing our kids. And I think by getting away from Common Core and moving towards the STEM program, which, by the way, is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. If we move our classes to the STEM program, we would our students would be better set up and geared for the coming. What do we got going on here? Yes, you're right, Chuck. He is the best mayor I've seen in Detroit in a very long time. He's not swayed by the special interests, and that's one thing that won't happen to me. Again, I have turned away donations from some of our corporations. Granted, they're smaller corporations. A lot of people don't really want to talk to me right now because they say I'm 2 years out from the election. Well, they don't know who I am, and that's why I'm campaigning as early as I am. I am trying to set up talks with the teachers, and I will get in there and talk with them and the unions. I haven't been vetted by the unions. That's fine. They're staying away from me because I am an independent. I believe our two-party system is broken, and I think that needs to be changed. I think we need more people like myself to run for these public offices. I am keeping my fingers crossed, and I am hoping that Shane Hernandez, District 83 up in the Port Huron area, gets elected for his Republican Party on Tuesday. Now, I back Republicans, I back Democrats, I back the independents. As long as they're fighting for the people's rights in this state of Michigan, I will back them. I'm not afraid to back anybody. I don't care what party you are. Like I said, I used to be a Republican, and I've went to being an independent because I am not going to follow their game plan, as they call it. I don't believe in our status quo anymore. Our politicians have turned towards the lobbyists. They have special interests. They have jobs lined up for them after they lose their office or retire. And I think it would be an honor to be the governor of Michigan. I won't be the governor that sits behind the desk. I'll tell you that one. I'll be out talking to the people. I need to find out what the people need and what they think I can do to help them. Your representatives should be doing the same thing. They should be out in their districts talking to the people, finding out what their needs are. As governor, I will make sure they're doing that. Now, I've talked about the roads. I've talked about our schools. Now, one of the big things with our taxes, I am going to go through, and I will have people who help me do this. I'm not a tax CPA or anything like that. Like I said, I'm a common person, but I have common sense. I want to go through the tax structure for Michigan. I already know about the corporate income tax. I know where I'm going to put that. I'm going to cut that in half, but it'll be the same for every type of business in Michigan. If it's mom and pop, all the way to Generous Motors, Ford, all these high-tech companies, banks, insurance companies, it'll be the same. It will not be like it is right now, where some of these businesses aren't even paying their fair share of tax. I don't care if it's service-oriented or if it's manufacturing. You will pay the same amount that mom and pop is paying. This is a fair, flat tax. Some of the regulations that we have here in Michigan need to be done away with because they are hampering our manufacturing and stuff like that. As long as these companies aren't harming our environment or the people around them, these regulations shouldn't be there. We need to get our manufacturing up. We need to bring more companies into Michigan. I would like to see Michigan turn into a self-sustainable state. The more businesses I can get in Michigan, the more jobs we create. The lower taxes we bring or put in place in Michigan, and the less tax we put in Michigan brings more jobs to the people of Michigan. As far as our welfare system, the last numbers I checked, Michigan's welfare or entitlement programs were up around $5.6, $5.7 billion. Might be a slight bit higher than that. It's too much. The people of Michigan shouldn't have to pay for somebody else to have a way of life with free money. I don't agree with it. I'm not knocking the people that are on our welfare system. I would like to find jobs for them. I would like to generate jobs for them. Get them to be able to sustain their own families. The welfare system is there for a safety net. It's not a way of life. And that's what I want to bring back. We have entire generations living on the welfare system. That's not a way of life. They don't they don't earn any of it, but the whole thing is, I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but it's the way I am. I'm not here to be politically correct. I'm here to tell you how I feel and what I'd like to do for Michigan. Like I said, some of you may not even agree with me. But that's what I like. The fact that if you don't agree with me, let me know. Let me know what you think could be a better idea. I'm willing to listen and work with the people of Michigan. But I'm not going to back down from the status quo. Things have to change, and with me, they will. I'm not going to play the games. I don't know who's going to be elected. Trump, Hillary. Hillary scares the hell out of me. I don't trust her. And, the numbers with Obama haven't been that great. And some people would say, well, that's from previous terms, and the situations are different all the time. Well, you can't always be a diplomat and get things across to help. So what we need to do is to listen to the people. Like I said, some people don't agree. This group over here doesn't agree with this group over here. I understand that. Not everything is meant to be compromised. Compromise works in most situations, but I can't handle or see compromising the families in Michigan. I have been talking to insurance companies, the ones that will talk to me. I have a plan to lower health insurance in Michigan. I have plans to lower auto insurance in Michigan. And I've said this one once before, health insurance in Michigan and nationwide was an $80 billion profit for these insurance companies. The couple of companies I did manage to get into to talk to, I told them they're going to have to cut their health insurance down 50%. He says, well, we can't survive on 50% if we cut it that far. And I told, the exact answer I gave him is, you made $80 billion last year. You can't survive on $40 billion? He just looked at me. He says, that's the national number. That wouldn't be our number. And I says, well, I'll tell you what. As governor, when I'm elected, I will open up Medicaid to the entire state. A family of four, $500 a month with a $1,500 deductible. He says you wouldn't survive. I said, that's half of your numbers. That's the $40 billion profit margin that I was talking about when I brought it to your attention. Yeah, Chuck, that is a crooked system. I understand that Hillary and Trump are dead even in the popular vote, and you're right. The electoral vote, she's way ahead. I understand that, and you're right. It is a crooked system. But the only way we can change that is if the people wake up and voice their opinion. And that's where I'm hoping I get elected into Michigan as the governor. I don't want to win just barely. I want to prove to Lansing that the people are being listened to. I want to win by a landslide. I've been told, and by the numbers I've looked at for the last couple elections, if I were to get 2.3 million votes, chances are I would be the winner on it. But I don't want just 2.3 million votes in Michigan. I want to see 4 and 5 million. I want to send a message to Lansing, and that message is that the people are tired of the bull crap that's going on. We're tired of the misappropriation. We're tired of them lining their pockets with our hard-earned dollars. and we're tired of the crappy roads here in our state. You know, we win. When I win this election, this message isn't going to be just to Lansing. This is going to send a message to Washington as well. The reason I say it's going to send a message to Washington is because they're going to see a governor that actually cares about his people in the state. And what I say by care, I mean when I lay out these plans for Michigan, you're going to have 49 other governors paying attention to what I'm doing in Lansing. They're going to say, hey, this guy's not following any type of plan that we've had going around the nation. No, he's actually showing that he wants to help his people in Michigan. So the whole idea is to get somebody in there like me who's not afraid to stand up to Washington, who's not afraid to stand up to his Senate, his state house. He's going out there for the people. If these senators in our state, which there's only 38 of them, I understand there's only 38 senators, 110 state reps. But if they're not going out there and doing what they're supposed to be doing, talking to the people, finding out what their needs are, then something's wrong. If I come in there and go into their district and hear that they're not talking to the people, well, then that's an issue to me. I guess that means then I come back to Lansing and I bring this to this senator's attention. You need to be speaking to your constituents. They have these issues. You need to take care of it. That's how our democracy should work. We listen to the people and we try to solve the problem. Now, for infrastructure in Michigan, I've been trying to get these numbers out, and I've been trying to find a way that we can put together an infrastructure fund. Now, if I ever put a tax increase in anywhere as governor, it will be a fair tax. It won't be set off to hurt the people of Michigan and the corporations. One of the fairest taxes I see is our sales tax. No matter who comes in, whether you're from the state or out of the state, if you purchase something in the state, you have the sales tax. I didn't agree with Prop 1 when they were talking about raising the sales tax, because the only reason I didn't agree with it is because they had 10 other laws hidden behind Prop 1, and the money wouldn't have reached our roads for 2 years. And they had it earmarked for everything else, but not as much for the roads. They said we needed to raise, if I remember right, it was $1.2 billion for our roads. Well, they were going to take part of this increase and put it towards the schools. Great cause, don't get me wrong. But the purpose of a tax increase is for a specific item. In other words, if they would have brought Prop 1 up and said, well, we're going to raise the sales tax 1 penny or 1%, however you want to look at it, and said it was strictly for our roads, I would have bought into it. So here's the thing. When I go out there and under my administration, when we go to pass a law or a bill, it's going to be one item. They're not going to be allowed to hide anything behind it. Our ballots are, 14 inches? I think they're 11 by 14 or 11 by 16, our ballots. You can put a lot on there. You don't need to hide bills and laws behind other bills and laws. If you have to call a special election to pass a bill, then call a special election. You don't need to be hiding stuff from the people. You come right out. If I have to, I'll get right out there on the TV and I'll talk to the people of Michigan. If we need to create an infrastructure fund, we will create an infrastructure fund. I know my goal is to cut $20 billion out of our taxes. Most of that is coming from the property tax that I want to cut out altogether. Now, I've had a lot of issues when I brought this up to the people because they say that's how we pay for our police departments, our fire departments, our schools. What you don't realize is the majority of the taxes that are collected, they go to Lansing, and Lansing disperses them. 90% of them go to Lansing, okay? And then the locals, the ones that really don't go are your courts. But what you don't realize about the courts, when you're ticketed and taken into court, it's split up as well. If you get a ticket, I don't know the exact, percentages, how they split it up. But I do have the paperwork from 2011. I haven't been able to find an update on this, and this is right from our State House of Representatives, which is our loss portion of the government. You get a traffic ticket. All right, let's pick a town. We'll pick Lake Orion, seeing how I live here. I go out here in downtown Lake Orion. I get a speeding ticket. I call in. They say it's $130. Well, you would think that money would go right to Lake Orion, but it doesn't. Okay? Lake Orion local courts get some of it. The state of Michigan gets some of it. The county courts get some of it. It's split up all over the place. That will have to stop as well. So these are all issues that I've been studying and digging into to find out these answers. And this is where the funding will come in for our local governments and our county governments. The property tax doesn't need to be there. Right now, the number one cause for people losing their homes to foreclosure right now at this moment in Michigan is property taxes. Okay, my plan is to cut those out. Redistributing the whole tax structure can be done. It can be done in a year or less. The time that it would take to get counties and local governments adjusted to it, that's why when I said on my day of my inauguration, day one, I will announce that property taxes in the state of Michigan will be cut to 50%. The reason I'm doing that is to give the local and county governments time to adjust, because they're going to need the time to adjust, because they're going to all freak out. But I have been preaching this all along through my whole campaign. I'm not afraid to do this. I know it's something that's got to be done. We need to protect our families, and major part of the family investment is their homes. So why not take steps to help families keep their homes? That's the way I think of it. Now, I'm in no danger of losing my house. I pay my property taxes. Of course, they're getting ready to go up again. They've already went up almost $800 in 1 year. But yet they want to raise it another $300 in the same year. This is getting carried away. We need to stop placing all these tickets on the family home. Local and county governments can ask for a millage or a tax increase. I understand that, as long as it's benefiting our families. But don't attach it to our homes. That home is the center of our families. That's where we go to sleep, we eat, and hang out with each other. I want to make sure that our families are safe and they have a home. They have a roof over their head. They have a place to go. By increasing all these property taxes, people yell at me because I'm against it. Like I said, I've been having these discussions in my own community over raising our property taxes. They're taking away our castles, our places where our families get together, where we lay our heads at night and feel the safest. That will not happen under my administration. The IRS, one of the first things they do is they attack your home. They put a lien on your job and they attack your home. They try to steal it from you or force you to fear that you're going to lose it. That's not right. As governor of this state, I will strip the IRS of their ability to do that. You say, how can I do that when that's a federally run government office? The governor has the ability to nullify anything that the people of that state feel is unconstitutional. A lot of people don't know that. Our governor could have nullified a lot of things that our presidents have done. They haven't done it because they fear the wrath of losing federal tax dollars. I don't. As governor, I will be protecting each and every one of our citizens' rights. That's what your governments are for. They're there to protect the people. I don't believe in big government. Our government should be staying out of our lives as much as possible. It's there to protect us. That's what I will be doing. I will be protecting your Bill of Rights and your constitutional rights, whether it be state constitution or federal constitution. They will not walk all over the people of Michigan. We are the 9th largest state in this nation. We pull a lot of tax dollars out of our state for this federal government. And I understand that. So trust me, if the federal government wants to take our federal funding, let them have it. This state can survive on its own sovereignty. If they were to take our federal dollars, that's our tax dollars away from us, yes, the state would have to raise its state taxes. But it wouldn't be near as much as it would be once if you count the federal and the state taxes. If they take our federal road funding, okay? If they were to do that, fine, take your federal road funding. We are not going to pay you any federal tax on the gas and diesel anymore then. If you're going to take your federal tax dollars, take it. All I would have to do is raise our gas tax 2.5%, and it would cover their 18.4 cents. You ask why? Well, here's why. Because we would actually be spending the money on our roads instead of stealing from Peter to pay Paul. That's why it would work. It's called common sense. You know, my whole campaign, like I said, is on accountability, equality, and integrity. My running mate is a Democrat. I'm, by nature, am a Republican. I am running as an independent because of what the Republican Party told me. I won't get behind their game plan because I'm not going to play the status quo's games anymore. This is done. I'm going to stand up for the people of Michigan. Don't care about what the Republican Party says. Don't care about what the Democratic Party says. I'm going to fight for you, the people of Michigan. That's all I can really think of to say on that matter. Now, think about it this way. I'm sorry, I'm reading one of the comments that popped up here. Yeah, you're right there again, Chuck. I won't be bought and paid for either. The people I'm going to be accountable to is the people of Michigan. I could care less about the lobbyists. They're not funding me. I won't take no money from the lobbyists. That's why I'm taking small donations. Most of the people who are donating to my campaign are paying $3, $4, and $5 a month. It is set up on a reoccurring because we need that income to pay for printing, gas to get some of these speaking arrangements that we're starting to set up again. We participate, and I'll speak to any group that wants to hear me. I don't care what your party affiliation is. I am here for the people of Michigan. I am getting my message out. This Facebook Live and Periscope, they are really getting the message out for me. That's a good point, Cody. Yeah, I do have plans to help increase our renewable energies for Michigan. At the same time, I believe the plan would create somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 jobs. Michigan is in a good position to have offshore windmills, believe it or not, offshore solar, without harming any of our systems. I'm looking into more of it, but I don't have the details on it, but I have been talking to people about our renewables. I'd like to see Consumers Energy, DTE, and some of these other energy companies in Michigan. Right now they're getting 10 and 15% of our electricity through renewables. I'd like to make them have 30% at least by 2025. And not at the expense of us, the people. I don't believe in forcing the people to pay extra for them to update their system. That's not right. It's part of business. But I would like to mandate that we have one electric company, and the name eludes me right now. It's in the thumb of Michigan. Right now, they do get 30% of the electricity they put into the grid for the people of Michigan from renewable energy. They've proven it can be done. Anything that is mandatory needs to be affordable. That's why I've gone the way I have with our health insurance. The average cost of health insurance is between $1,000 and $1,200 a month for a family of 4. That's why I brought up when I was with the insurance companies talking to them that they need to lower their health insurance cost by 50%. And the number I picked was $500 a month. So for a family of 4, $500 a month, that would be more affordable than $1,100 or $1,000 or $1,200. That's why it's mandatory, so it needs to be affordable is correct. These are issues that I'm willing to tackle. And like I said, I don't have all the answers, but I have the ideas. I will think out of the box. There will be ways to make these work. If people think about it, they can make the ways work. There's always a way where there's a will, and I believe in that wholeheartedly. So everything I've put out there as a campaign promise, I will back. The hardest one to meet, and I'll admit to this to you right now, is the 500,000 jobs I want to create in Michigan in my 4-year term. I believe in it, and I will do it. That will be the hardest goal to reach. All the other 9, I promise you, I will do. I am putting together a contract. It's called My Contract with the People of Michigan. It will be a legal binding contract. I will stick to those campaign promises. We are currently setting up policy papers so that I can put this all out on the website for you to look at the policies I'm talking about. Same ones I've been talking about, and probably the same that you'll hear for the next 1.5 years, 2 years. I will not sway from my ideas and what I have planned for Michigan. I am a true believer in our Second Amendment. Our Second Amendment says it should not be infringed upon. I believe in our Constitution 100%. So if you're asking me what are my views on concealed pistol laws, hey, as long as you have a right to carry that pistol and you're licensed, I have no issues with it. Some of these things, if you look at what's going on around the world, where these terrorists are hitting our soft targets, our malls, our schools, if you look at it and really pay attention, they are gun-free zones. They are purposely picking these targets because they know nobody's going to have a gun. So chances are they're going to get away with what they want. Now, these are all travesties and terrible things. I understand that. The reason, I believe personally, the reason nobody has really attacked this country personally on our shores is they realize the people of this nation have guns. It's not just our military. Most of the people in this country are well armed. and we will defend our homes and our families. I'm willing to defend my home and my family. If you want to be that foolish to walk in my door uninvited, you could be met with some pretty good force. All right, what do we have here? There's an issue there, Cody. I understand I don't know the answer to this. I've heard that we have cures for some of the cancers and everything like that. I don't know. To me, I have not personally looked into what we may have or may not have cures for, but I understand your concern out of it. You got to think, in my common sense way of looking at this, I'm sure we do have cures for certain things, and they're not bringing it out because if they brought it out, your drug companies and stuff wouldn't be making money, and I understand that. I believe that if they do have a cure for some of these, they need to bring them out. Plain and simple. It's not all about money, and this is the issue partially of what I have. Everybody's so worried about the almighty dollar. You know, corporations, they can't survive if they don't make money. Well, I don't think anybody should be putting money over people's health. I would give everything, anything and everything to protect my family no matter what it was, whether it be a health issue or an invader. I would do whatever I could. I am willing, and like I said, I am going after these health insurance companies and auto insurance to get them lowered here in Michigan, and I will get it done. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I have a way to do that. So the best thing I can do is talk to you, let you know what my plans are, ask for your help, and please, I'm going to ask again. You know, I am constantly looking for volunteers to go door to door, gather signatures, help with donations. We need everything that we can get our hands on. You know, there's all kinds of things that I can do if you help. Again, my website is schleigerforgovernor2018.com. Go on there, look at what I'm about, and I think you'll like what I have to say on there. Again, policy papers are coming to be put onto that website. I'm not going to guarantee you when, but they are going to be here shortly. I am working on them. I have to make sure I word it properly because I'm not a lawyer, and I want to make sure that it's accessible for anybody to understand. And I am putting together my contract between myself and the people of Michigan. I will stand behind that contract. And I am looking for volunteers on IT, volunteers to go door to door, volunteers to help gather donations, volunteers to help gather signatures. August 20th, I need 8 more volunteers to go with us down to the Woodward Dream Cruise. If I got 30 of you, I'd take all 30 of us down there. We need the help to get these signatures going. We need the help to gather donations. I need your help all together. I can't do it alone. My committee's working round the clock trying to gather what we can. We are functioning still, you know. And I realize the national election is upon us, and over the next 100 days, we'll be hearing all kinds of bad things about each of the candidates. I don't care which one gets elected. Well, I do care, but no matter what happens, we're going to need a strong governor in Michigan to stand up for what is right for our people. I will be that strong governor. So if you can, go to the website, schleigerforgovernor2018.com, click on the donate button, donate $3, $4, $5 a month on reoccurring. I promise you it's going to good cause for printing. It's going to help get out our yard signs. We're in the middle of creating t-shirts. I don't know about going so far as to hats, but if we do, we do. There's a lot of beer drinking buddies. We're looking at getting little cozies going to help. These are all things that these donations are going to. Like I said, they're going for gas to travel all over Michigan. We're currently, well, in spring we're getting ready to get a hold of a bus, and we're going to do a bus tour around Michigan. So I look forward to meeting a lot of people up there. We're going to go up north. We need to get up there and talk to the people of Michigan in the northern part because they seem to be feeling left out. We don't want that. They are part of our state. We need to deal with them and talk with them and see what their needs are. I know I want to get companies to move up north or come from out of state to move up north to help the people of northern Michigan so that we can employ them as well. We will bring jobs to Michigan. There's no doubt about that in my mind. The tax restructuring that we plan to do will generate jobs in Michigan. So we're working on whatever we can. I welcome all kinds of ideas. If it's a functional idea, we may incorporate it into what we need here in Michigan. The only bad question is the question not asked. So that's the way I keep thinking about it. So I am always open for suggestions. Again, I'm going to push it one more time. The website is schleigerforgovernor2018.com. Please go on to there. Like it. You can follow me on Facebook. You can tell me to go to hell on Facebook. It doesn't matter. I will answer to the best of my ability on anything you want to talk about. I also have a Schleiger for Governor Facebook page. You can go on there and like it. You can leave messages. I am having these Todd Talks every Sunday until the people tell me to knock it off. Even then I probably won't quit. So again, go to schleigerforgovernor2018.com. Like the page, follow the page. We are on Twitter. We are on Periscope, which I'm not live streaming on Periscope tonight. My other camera decided to take a crap, but I'm getting it fixed. But we are out there. If you have a group that you'd like us to come speak to, I will gladly do that. Get a hold of Chris Ruzin at CRUZZIN at schleigerforgovernor2018.com. You can email him. He will take your appointment. We will get together and I will come speak to your groups as well. But again, I'm sorry I'm being a repeat and everything like this, but every donation helps. You don't have to donate on reoccurring. If you want a one-time donation, it's there. You can go a one-time donation or you can go a reoccurring. I actually prefer reoccurring for the simple fact it gives me a monthly income to pay for our printing. We do have a very high printing bill. I'm keeping them paid. We are getting ready to have another car wrapped. The reason we're having a second car wrapped is because some people didn't like the idea that I had a Kia and it was wrapped with the American flag. So I no longer have a Kia. I have a Chrysler 200. It is getting ready to be wrapped with my flag and my campaign promises on it. So I'm not even the governor yet, and I am already listening to the people of Michigan. They didn't like my Kia. Now I have a Chrysler 200, which is an American-made car. So this is what I'm getting at. I will listen to the people of Michigan. And I will help the families of Michigan. I will help the businesses of Michigan. I will bring jobs to Michigan. I am tired. I am angry at the status quo. And in all matters for the people of Michigan, say no to the status quo. It is time the voice of the people is heard. It is time that the voice of the people is listened to. That's where my administration is going to go. That's what I plan to do for the people of Michigan. This is my vision for the people of Michigan, and I welcome and hope to be your next governor. With all that being said, I'd like to say have a good evening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you donated, I appreciate it, and we will get this job done for the people of Michigan. No more is it, to me, pure Michigan. It's going to be known under my administration as a state of new beginnings, because that's what Michigan is to me. It is a state of new beginnings. The people of Michigan deserve better. They will get better under my administration. Have a good night. God bless you.